Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is October 20th. Welcome to my channel. Now, of course, on Friday, we had a big move down because of the credit scare in the regional banks, and that we just went right back to the same story. We couldn't get lower, so we went higher. No shocker there. That's what we've been doing. All right, so staying in this balance area, staying within this big candle of last Friday, not last Friday, the Friday before that, the market just is indecisive. It's basically what it is. And what we're doing today is a lot of stocks are up this morning. And we're up over the highs of Friday right now. Not by a ton. We were gapping up. Um, let's see here real quick, just while I'm talking to you. Gapping up slightly in both right now. I'll show you that right now. Right here. Prices right here, highs of Friday. Prices right here on NASDAQ, highs of Friday. So, little gap ups today. Now, earnings season continues. We actually get CPI this week on Thursday, and just a bunch of earnings. Some notables this week: we have Coca-Cola, GE, Netflix, GE Vernova, AT&T, IBM, Tesla, American Airlines. So some big ones this week. Who else? T-Mobile, Ford, Intel, Procter and Gamble. So decent amount of earnings. Decent amount of earnings. Okay. So yeah, basically the story remains we're indecisive. I do not have conviction in this market at all. Okay. At all. Now, yeah, on Friday also, what's notable, we had a pretty significant VIX that got crushed. We went up to a 29 VIX and went right back down. So, internals that told the story on Friday. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's how I come up with my game plans for futures and for if I'm trading some equities, stocks. Okay. Now I also use Anchored View Ops. Lets me know who's in control at a certain point in time. I use market internals. When that market opens, it'll let me know who's not who. Well, it can't tell me who's in control, but it gets more or less tell me what's going on under the hood and what the market is capable of. Okay, I use Bookmap to help me execute my trades and futures. All right, and then my weekly expected move. Okay, updated that for everybody this morning. The weekly expected move for this week. Okay, remember 70% of the time, the any stock will close within its expected range. Okay, 70% of the time. That is very notable. Okay. Now, hopefully, you guys join me every morning, give you the market story, give you the latest news, the headlines, economic calendar, earnings calendar this week. All right. Basically, I'm your one-stop shop here. Let me be your morning cup of coffee. Let me be your podcast. All right. I give you a bunch of technical analysis, followed by long and short trade scenarios in NASDAQ futures. Okay. I'm not going to try to sway you and make you believe that I guarantee a breakout, I guarantee a crash. That's just stupid. That's just plain stupid. No one can do that. Okay? Now, there could be probabilities. There's times where I'm like, ooh, like on Friday, I'm like, we're probably going up. That's what I said to them. We're probably going up. Not that I knew it, but probabilities where we're gonna couldn't go lower, and we went up. And we did. It wasn't the easiest move up, but you're in balance. That basically once you tip the scales one way, you're going to go to the other side. It's basically just what happens. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage from myself, okay, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage. Click on the link. Sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay. In my Discord. Okay. In my Discord. I try to give you guys live content, commentary, audio messages, videos of what I am seeing. Okay. I'll give you my futures trades. I'll give you my options trades. Okay. Trade recaps. I even bookmark my scenarios for you every morning. Also, let you know on certain trades what I'm reflecting on. And I give you the weekly expected move for free. It's a Thinkorswim indicator that I run every Monday morning. I already run it. And it gives us those expected ranges and important tickers in our markets. Okay? So sign up. Let me be your indicator, okay? I don't steer people wrong, trust me. All right? Now, let's move right into the watch list here. Let's see what's moving markets. Okay. Ethereum. Ethereum's up 5.19%. Bitcoin's up 4.12 now. Bitcoin looked real nice for a long. Real nice. Okay. So looking at some plays this week. So gold continues its rise, up 1.94%. Silver's up 1.54. Russell's up 0.80. Nasdaq's up 0.41. ES up 0.32. The Dow's up 0.20. The dollar is up 0.10. 30-year bonds is flat. 10-year yield is flat. Crude continues to slide. I'm watching crude. Trust me, I'm watching crude. Watching some oil stocks as well. There's going to be a time where it bottoms out. Okay, the VIX is down 1.40%, down to a 20.49 VIX. Still a nice VIX for some volatility. Okay, moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. Coinbase. Coinbase took quite a dive last week, almost down to 317. Okay, and yeah, I would have been long Coinbase. However, they have earnings coming up. I don't know why it doesn't show it here. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing here. Well, let me see something here real quick, guys. Let me see. Coinbase. Let's see. Coinbase. Coin. Has earnings on 10/30. Yep. So, I was really liking Coinbase as a long. The only thing maybe I might long the stock. That way I don't have to deal with those pumped up options. Okay. So that's up 2.52. AMD's up 1.92. Apple just got good news. They're pretty much outselling, I think, by 14% the previous iPhone. Boeing just got some approval to, I think, go ahead with 737 production. We'll get into that. Tesla's up 0.97. GE reports earnings this week, up 0.95. Okay. Let's go with Nvidia is the laggard, down 0.14, which is nothing. Okay, which is nothing. There's a little bit of news here. Let's see what's the news. Okay, not much news there. Let's just move on to top sectors. Let's see. We got Newmont. Newmont finally had a pullback, and it's getting bought up today. Okay. Palantir up 0.91. They report earnings soon. GEV reports earnings. Is the laggard today is Qualcomm. All right, let's move on to granular list here. Let's see its moving markets. Mara Mining, obviously crypto related. Riot crypto related, up 4.5. I'm looking at a long two in this IBIT. I don't know how you say it. IBIT Bitcoin ETF. I'm looking at longs. Micron, Supermicro Computers, Quantum Compute. A lot of these stocks pulled back. MicroStrategy is also looking for a long end. They're reporting earnings coming up soon as well. Okay, a lot of these stocks pulled back, so maybe people are looking at this as a buyer opportunity. Look at who's lagging. Skyworks. Skyworks is really only laggard, down 2.28%. Down 2.28%. Moving on to sectors. Okay, so semiconductors leading the pack up 0.74%, followed by technology up 0.43, followed by financials, followed by utilities, and the only laggard is staples. The only laggard is staples. Okay, now moving on to economic calendar. Boom. And this week, we got Fed Waller tomorrow. Wednesday, really not much going on there. Thursday, Chicago Fed, existing home sales. Friday, we actually get CPI. We actually get CPI on Friday. I think I said Thursday before, a mistake. It's Friday. Okay. Let's look at the earnings calendar real quick. Like I said before, we have this morning Cleveland Cliffs. That's steel. This morning, nothing really crazy after the close today. Before the open tomorrow, Coca-Cola, GE, Lockheed Martin, Philip Morris, Raytheon, 3M, GM. After the close tomorrow, Netflix, Intuitive Surgical, Texas Instruments, Capital One, Mattel. All right, that's what's going on. And Tesla we have this week, Vertiv, GE Vernova. Like I was saying earlier, Intel, Procter and Gamble, just to name a few. All right, now we go back. We're gonna look at some juice here to see if Trump's talking today. Trump greets Australia's Prime Minister at 11 o'clock. Stock news. Apple stock rose 1.4% after the data released by Counterpoint Research indicated that the iPhone 17 series has outperformed its predecessors by 14%. Okay. Amazon stock fell 0.3 after Amazon Web Services, the world's biggest cloud infrastructure provider, suffered a major outage. What else? Rivian stock fell 1.8 after Mizuho downgraded the electric vehicle manufacturer. Texas Instruments stock fell 1.3 after Mizuho downgraded the semiconductor underperformed from neutral. Okay. More news. Fortnite, Snapchat among major apps to go dark in global AWS outage. Oh, interesting. Boeing wins FAA approval to hike 737 MAX production. That's what I was talking about with Boeing. Of course, the regional banks scare. Looks like Kering agrees to sell beauty unit to L'Oreal for $4.7 billion. We already talked about the iPhone sales. Maybe there's a Tesla news in here. Not really. Looks like BlackRock, Morgan Stanley raises target price to $14.86 from $13.62. Netflix, Morgan Stanley raises target price to $1500 from $14.50. United Airlines, Morgan Stanley raises target price to $140 from $130. Interesting. Okay, let's look if there's any upgrades, downgrades here. All right. Yeah, Apple got an upgrade from hold to a buy. Ally Financial, hold to a buy. Darden Restaurants, neutral to buy. Johnson & Johnson, neutral to outperform. Let's see what else here. Let's see if there's any downgrades here. This list's usually not that great. Novartis, no, that's not Novartis. Okay, that's about it there. Let's look at our breadth chart here. All right, we're back going in this middling market. 40% of the S&P 500 stocks are above their simple day 20 moving average. We're about to go back in the middle. Makes sense. Indecisive market. Indecisive market. Okay. All right, folks. I think we can go right into some daily charts. We might do some RRG chart, rotation charts. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see what date that was. That was October 10th. Not sure if I want to do that today. All right, let's look at daily charts here. All right, so good old SPY. We have a wedge going on here. I could have put a little trend line here, but basically a little downtrend line. We're in balance, folks. We're in balance. You can see the 20-day simple moving average is flat. That just tells you all you need to know as well. 9 EMA is flat. That's just always going to give you the tip off. All right, your 50-day moving average is still sloping upwards. All right. Where are we today? Where are we today? Well, as you can see, we came to the kind of this bottom of the balance area and we pushed up here, right? We had resistance at the 20-day 9 EMA daily on Friday. Okay, we can go to the top, all right? But this morning we are at 66646. 66646. We are right here. Right here. Okay, almost to the top of this trend line. All right, so let's look at futures. Here's our futures. So you can see we did kind of push the doji, little doji candle. So indecisiveness. Can we come up back to the previous month's highs again? I don't know. I would say probably, but it's just you really don't know. I don't have a lot of conviction, like I said. Moving on. Qs. Qs came down to this 2-day balance. Couldn't even touch the 2 previous days lows. Got bought up. All right. Didn't come down to this trend line. Now we're at 606.50. 606.50. Wait, 606.50? Yeah, 606.50. Interesting. We are by the top of this trend line. Very interesting in the Qs. We're at the top of this range, really. Very interesting. Okay. Now, look at futures. Look at this. Oh, my Lord. The Qs actually, NASDAQ futures has a nice balance area. Very uniform. Okay. So, we're at the top of that pretty much balance area. Okay. You can see it's a doji as well. Came all the way up almost to this high. This is last week's highs. Didn't come up to there quite yet. Okay. So, we could, if we follow what's been going on, go way back down here today. If there's more indecisiveness. Okay. If there's more indecisiveness. Alrighty. Now, moving on. We could maybe go to the triple-headed monster. Haven't checked in with that in a while. Let's go straight up to the 10-year yield. We did break a key support right there, the 3.99 yield, but we recovered. But today we're kind of hanging out down there. We are in a downtrend here in yields. Bonds have been being bought. Okay. The VIX, or let's go to the dollar first. Let's go to the dollar. The dollar is just in that bottom and out phase as well. Look at that, just holding down here. If this takes off and breaks up to this high, there could be a nice run in the dollar. We just have to see. Okay, and now we're looking at the VIX. The VIX really got crushed on Friday. Look at that VIX. All the way up to a 29 and went all the way back down to a 20. That got crushed. All right, that was probably that bank credit scare in regional banks. Okay. Alrighty, moving on. Let's go to our market internals. Our market internals recap. That is right here. Now, market internals were garbage, meaning they just didn't tell you anything. And that's why I was like, even with this pushback, I was like, no. We're staying in range. And the whole time I was like, oh, I don't even think this is the end. And then what happened is we started to gain momentum here. And we pushed up. Okay? So the market was never very strong. Okay? But it was stronger than it was weak from the open. It was stronger than it was weak. Okay? I had an SPX in the 66 right here, I believe. 66.35, I think it was I had. And yeah, I was underwater here, and then it came above, and then I was like, okay, let's see, and then it pulled back. And at this point, I was like, you know what, this could be the range day. I'm not going to sit here and take a loss. So I took a small, tiny profit, basically break even on it. It would have worked. I would have made the $400, but I've saved myself a lot of money from getting out on the right time. So you're not always going to make the right move. Okay, I like to play defense there. All right, so that's market internals for Friday. Let's move on to the hourly charts where there's not much to gleam at. Be honest with you here. Okay, but we'll look at them anyway. Let's go to the ES. Okay, because we're doing the same thing we've been doing. Just hourly charts, folks. Hold on. What has been the story? Well, pretty simply, from the big day on Friday, all we've been doing is going, oh, we're going down. We go up, we go down, we try to go up again, we go down, break this low, and then we recover and go back up top to the top of the balance area. That's all we've been doing. And every day, when you're in balance, it always feels like, ooh, this could be it. Nope. Ooh, this could be the. Nope. Right? So what do? We have a swing high, lower high, and a lower high. Do we break this and go back down? Very well could. Very well could. Okay, this is a daily supply zone I have here. This is last month's highs and futures. Do we have the power to push up through this? Right? I don't know. And your level is still that 67.15, the most traded price of the rolling month. Above it, you got to think bullish. Below it, we probably go back down. It's really as simple as it gets there for the ES futures. Okay. Moving on to the Nasdaq, which has a prettier, well, I wouldn't call it prettier, but a more tight balance area. Okay. So pretty simple here. Again, from that Friday, we've been going up, down, and we went up. Oh, we're going up. Nope. Down. Going up. Nope. We go down. And now we're back up to the top of this balance area. This is a more even balance area in the Nasdaq, more uniform. Okay, more uniform. That's last week's high, so we're above last month's highs. Right? Can we break out and hit last week's highs? I don't know. Okay, I would think if you take out the 25027s here, your next test is a 249s, the most traded price of the month. This is ultimate balance, folks. Most traded price of the month and the week. And on Friday, you lose the 249s, we're going back to at least the 245s. That's as simple as it gets. Okay? Simple as it gets. All right, that's the hourly charts. Now we're going to move on to market profile, volume profile. And this is our market. I don't know what the heck that is. Market profile, volume profile here. Here we are. And you can see that this profile is balanced, folks. Why is my marker not working? Alright, that's weird. Give me 1 second while I start this up again. Don't have any clue why that has all of a sudden decided to just not work. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's look at our right here. That's a balanced profile. Okay? Not a shocker. Not a shocker. Okay? Now, this was that gap down that turned out to be not a gap when we opened here. That just signified, yeah, sellers couldn't move the markets down. And I said it on Friday, the easiest move is to move back up. In the session, it didn't look easy, but that's eventually what the market did. Okay? So we're gapping up. So key level here, gap fill 67.18. What does that encompass if I do this? Well, it's the most traded price of the month, 67.15. Okay. You have the close, Friday's highs, obviously, right? And you have a very balanced profile. This is a daily demand, a supply zone we're in. It's not going to be easy to cut through. So, what I'm looking at, and you know what? Let me just make this range a little bigger. I think because you have to include the most traded price of the week, which is 66.95s. We'll just make this range because that's really what it's about here. If you lose the 66.95s in the overnight lows, we're probably going to start to go back, test Friday's lows, and go maybe back down to this balance area, to the balance area lows. That's really what it's about. Market needs to hold above this range to show strength. Okay, can it happen? Sure, sure, it can happen. We do have a pretty good level here at the 6750s. That's pretty key resistance there. We have a high volume node, which is last month's highs as well, last week's highs, 6766s up here as well. Okay, and we'll just mark off Friday's lows right there. Okay, and we'll look at this big demand zone that we bought out of when we couldn't go lower. Right now, if we're looking at this, let's break out this session here. Break out the session. We're going to move this down. Make it a little bigger. Okay. This is what we're working with. Balanced profile on the overnight. So let's get right into scenarios here, folks. Okay. So we're gapping up, small gap, right? So how am I going to play this? We're already in supply, and it's a pretty big supply zone. It's a daily supply zone. Okay. Pretty big. Pretty big. So not easy here. All right. Not easy. Now, what would I like to see? This is not an easy long, be honest with you. All right, because we're at the top of balance. So, what would I really like to see? Well, we could push up, try to break the overnight highs, fail, come back, test the 67.18s, 7.15s. Right? This could be, you know what? Hold on. And I don't even know if I did this scenario thing. I don't know if I remember if I did it. Let's just do it. And we're going to start with the bull side. Okay? So, fill the gap. Test the 67.15s. It could be beautiful here. And we just hold it. And then we can go up, break the overnight highs, and test the 67.50s. If we break that 67.50, we might hit last week's highs at 67.66. Okay? Now, of course, the market doesn't always make it nice on us. We could drop, right? We could drop into this chop zone and test the 66.95. Remember, this is the last line of defense. Maybe we get a bear trap here. Whoop. And then we can move up. Okay? It has to be quick. You do not want to spend time here because then I think we go back down. Okay? That's for the long side. For the short side. Okay? What I would like to see, remember, we're near balance highs, right? At value area high for the week. Right? It's right here. All right, so I would like to see a push up, break the overnight highs, test the 67.50s. And if this happens and the market's not that strong, maybe we get a lower high. Then you can get a nice trade in. You can go back to the mean, the 67.18, fill the gap. That might be it. But, right, if we take out the close, basically, this is probably a good support, 67.15. We're going to test the 66.95. This is the last line of defense for the bulls. If you take that out and start the whole price and retest, that's a short, you're going to target Friday's lows. Most likely, we're going to take that out. You got some single prints here. Okay. We could really start to cook. Maybe go back down to last week's lows. And that would just be what we're doing. That seems to be the story of what we do in this market because we're so indecisive. Okay? That's the ES, folks. Let's look at NASDAQ futures. All right, remember, this has a little more uniform balance area. Right here, right? Oop, the heck? All right, nice balance area. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Gapping up. All right, so off the bat, we know our big level's the 249. 249 is basically the mean. Okay, underneath that, we probably go back to lows. Above it, you got to think bullish. Are we going to break out eventually? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. First thing off, let's mark off the 249s and also includes the 50% Fibonacci of Friday's session. Okay. Then we also got Friday's lows. Almost has a poor low here. Okay. And the bottom of the balance area. Okay. We also have a pretty decent resistance here, 25179s right here. Okay. Now gap fill is right here, 25054s. You have a demand zone as well right here, includes the close of Friday. So let's break out this session and get right into it. So let's do the NASDAQ scenarios here. All right, so let's start with the bull side. Market price is right here. This could push up, hit the supply, pull back, gap fill, 25054s, and we can just start to take off. There's single prints up here. Maybe we make it up to the 253s. That makes it easy on everybody, right? Or you test this support and this demand zone and move up, right? I don't like anything in this chop zone. Well, there's not, yeah. Well, what I would like to see, if this could be the bear trap, really push down quick into the 249s. And then I'd have to see a quick recovery, like whoop, whoop, to think about it. More than likely, I'm not going to like that move. If it slowly moves down there, that means the market's weak. We probably go lower. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at as far as the longs. Short side. We do have supply, and there is a daily supply in the QQQ. Okay, so we're in supply now. Okay, so any movement up into the 25179s, last week's highs, I want to see what we do in these single prints. Any resistance in single prints is bearish. You make a lower high, you definitely can go for gap fill, 25054s. If we start to go back into the range, you're going to tag the 249s. That would be an amazing trade. Okay, but if you want to, because we know this is ultimate balance, big moves happen from ultimate balance. If you crack that, hold, retest, we should take out Friday's lows and start to test balance lows. Okay, that's just how it works. Lose 249, trust me. Longs from here, longs from here, longs from here that we're getting paid are going to cough it up. They're going to liquidate their positions. Okay? And, we're just coiling up for a big move. I don't know if it might happen today. I don't know. Okay? So that's scenarios, folks. Hopefully, you enjoyed that. Smash the like button if you did. That would mean a lot to me. All right? Now I do this every morning. I would hope for you to join me. Subscribe, set that alert. All right, let me be your morning cup of coffee. Let me be your podcast. Let me just give you why the market's doing what it's doing now, what's capable, what's the market capable of doing. Give you a bunch of technical analysis, and then I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Okay. And of course, if you want more in-depth coverage of the markets with me, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay? I will not steer you wrong. I give snapshots of the market. Now remember, I'm giving snapshots. Something can change in 5 minutes. Something can change in 10 minutes. Newscasts can come out. But if that does not happen and the market kind of stays within its structure, I'm pretty much not guarantee, but I pretty much never am surprised what the market does. Okay? Very rarely. Okay? So sign up. Get the free indicator, the expected move. and just get my intraday commentary. Okay? Hope to see you in there today. All right? Now, everybody, we have a plan. We have our plans. All right? I think they're pretty good. Remember, we're in balance until we're not. Right now, I would say I would just like to short the hell out of this thing and go back to the other balance lows. That's what's been happening. Now, eventually, we're going to either break out to the upside or to the downside. Nobody knows when that's going to happen. Okay? So, remember, no trades a trade. Stay green. And I hope to see you in my Discord. If I don't, I'll see everybody tomorrow morning.